The rain fell in relentless sheets, turning the dark alley behind the downtown grocery store into a slick, forgotten world. Among the puddles and the scattered garbage, a woman crouched, her hands shaking as she sifted through a dumpster. Her face, smudged with dirt and exhaustion, told a story of unimaginable struggle. She was heavily pregnant, and her stomach ached with hunger and fear, yet she forced herself to focus on finding anything edible. No one walked by, no one noticed. Everyone had places to go, deals to make, lives to live. She was invisible. Her name was Veronica, a young black woman barely 28, whose dreams had been swallowed by betrayal, poverty, and a chain of circumstances that left her alone in the cold. In that moment, as Veronica pulled out a moldy sandwich and contemplated if she could risk eating it, a black SUV rolled slowly past the alley. Inside sat a man who saw more than just the darkness of the streets. His name was Jonathan Harper, a 40-year-old millionaire, known in business circles for his sharp mind and relentless ambition. But that night, as he glanced through the rain-speckled window, he didn't see a statistic or a news headline. He saw a human being, fragile, desperate, and yet holding on with a quiet resilience. His heart tightened. He couldn't just drive past. He didn't know her story, yet he felt a pull he couldn't explain. Jonathan jumped out of his car and ran toward the alley, the rain soaking through his tailored suit. Veronica froze, startled by the sudden presence of someone so unlike the people who had ignored her for years. She tried to hide the food, but it was too late. He had already seen. He didn't recoil. Instead, he extended a hand, his eyes filled with concern rather than judgment. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. For a moment, Veronica thought about running, about disappearing into the shadows where no one could find her. But something in his voice, something human and kind, made her stay. This was the moment that changed everything. Before anything else, Jonathan took her to a nearby diner, where the warmth of the interior and the smell of freshly baked bread contrasted sharply with the cold despair she had known for months. He ordered a meal, sitting across from her as she hesitated, unsure if she was allowed to take up space, to be seen, to be cared for. Slowly, with tears in her eyes, she accepted. They didn't talk much at first. Words seemed small against the weight of her reality. But Jonathan listened, really listened, when she finally began to speak. Veronica spoke of losing her job, of a partner who abandoned her the moment she told him she was pregnant, of nights spent shivering on doorsteps or begging strangers for change. Her voice trembled with shame, but also with the quiet strength of someone who had survived far too much. Jonathan didn't offer platitudes. He didn't speak of luck or fate. Instead, he offered something far more radical, help without strings, a chance to rebuild, to step into the life she deserved. He rented her an apartment in a modest, safe neighborhood and provided enough money to cover essentials, insisting she didn't owe him anything except trust. Veronica felt tears streak down her cheeks, not of sorrow this time, but of relief, a sensation so foreign it nearly overwhelmed her. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not for her mistakes or her circumstances, but for the person she still was beneath it all. Over the next few months, Jonathan became more than a benefactor. He became a friend, a mentor, someone who encouraged her to dream again. He helped her connect with local organizations that supported single mothers, and he even arranged medical care for her and her unborn child. Veronica, once defined by struggle, began to rediscover her own strength. She started taking small classes online, learning skills that could one day help her become independent again. Every small victory, from learning to manage a budget to holding her newborn son Elijah, felt monumental. Jonathan's support didn't diminish her, but instead illuminated her capacity to rise. The turning point came one chilly autumn evening when Veronica, holding Elijah in her arms, walked through a park with Jonathan. She watched her son's tiny fingers curl around hers and realized that survival had turned into hope. She had not only survived the darkness, but she had also discovered the possibility of joy, love, and security. Jonathan, observing the quiet transformation, felt a profound sense of fulfillment. It wasn't wealth or success that defined him in that moment, but the power of simple human kindness, the ability to change the course of someone else's life through empathy and action. Veronica's journey was far from over. She still faced challenges, still confronted moments of doubt and fear, but each step forward was fueled by the knowledge that someone believed in her, that her past did not define her future. She began volunteering at shelters, sharing her story to inspire others, and slowly, she started building a career in social work, dedicated to helping women like herself who had fallen through society's cracks. The cycle of despair she had once known was now being replaced by one of hope and empowerment. Jonathan's life, too, had shifted in ways he hadn't anticipated. His encounter with Veronica reminded him that wealth could never measure the impact of compassion. He invested in community programs, supported shelters, and worked quietly to ensure that other lives could be touched by the same grace he had offered. Together, their lives became intertwined not through obligation, but through the simple act of believing in one another. It all began with a single moment of courage, the courage to stop, to notice, to care. Veronica, once eating from a dumpster, now stood in a sunlit apartment, her child safe in her arms, her heart full of gratitude and her future brimming with possibility. Jonathan, once just a man of business, had discovered the priceless value of human connection. Their lives, seemingly worlds apart, had collided in the most extraordinary way, leaving both forever changed. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in the power of kindness and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Every small action can help spread hope in a world that often feels indifferent. Veronica often looks back on that rainy night in the alley, a night she once thought would mark the lowest point of her life. Now, it marks a beginning. She writes letters to women who feel invisible, sharing her story, and each message is a reminder that even in the darkest alleys, light can find a way. She names her son Elijah, a name meaning, "My God is Yahweh," a testament to the faith that carried her through. Every day, she watches him play in the sunlit living room, and the echoes of her past seem to fade just a little more. Special request: if this story inspired you, comment below with one way you've seen kindness change a life. It could be your own story or someone else's. Life, they say, is unpredictable. It is messy, full of suffering and loss, but also full of grace, connection, and redemption. Veronica and Jonathan's story is proof that a single act of compassion can ripple outward, transforming not just one life, but countless others. And perhaps, somewhere out there, someone reading this right now will be inspired to reach out, to stop, to care, and in doing so, change everything. If this story moved you, please hit that like button, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel for more real-life stories that touch the soul and remind us that miracles often start with ordinary moments of courage.